For our discipleship moment this morning, we're going to continue to look at Gary Thomas's book, Sacred Pathways. In part one, we paid attention to 3 of the 9 spiritual temperaments that Dr. Gary Thomas outlines in his book. We looked at the naturalists, those individuals who connect to God by being out in nature. We looked at the sensates, those who connect to God through their senses. And number 3, we looked at intellectuals, those who connect to God by engaging their mind in deep study. Today, we're going to look at an additional 3 to further our understanding of the different ways that we connect to Jesus as individuals who are seeking to grow in his image. And so Dr. Thomas outlines the 4th one, which is the first one in this video, and those are individuals who connect to God by being traditionalists. And so if you're a person who loves to connect to God through rituals, sacrifices, symbols, and things like that, maybe you are a person who has the spiritual temperament of being a traditionalist. And so this may look like you're studying the book of Psalms in the 23rd chapter, and you find yourself saying, maybe I want to add a different dimension to my study. And so you go online and you find an artistic rendition that really paints a picture of what the psalmist outlines in that passage to help you grow in your commitment and your desire to be more Christ-like. And so maybe you are someone who likes to connect to God through different symbols. You really enjoy when we partake of the Lord's Supper in our services, and that might be a sign that you are an individual who is a traditionalist. The 5th one that I'd like to highlight, which is the second one in this video, are those of us who connect to God by being activists. So you love God by engaging in confrontation and spiritual confrontation to help people who are in need of seeing justice in our society. And so maybe you know of a group of people in our society who are being treated poorly, who are marginalized, and your heart stirs and aches for them, and you want to see them achieve a certain level of personhood and dignity because you see Jesus Christ in them. And if that is something that you find yourself experiencing all the time, maybe you're an activist. And so one way that you can practice this temperament in your walk is to pray different words of scripture. If there are people in our society who does not have an earthly shepherd who can help take care of them, maybe you can pray for God to come into their lives to truly be their shepherd, and maybe they can realize that he is there with them, providing their every need. And the 3rd one, or the 6th one overall, that I would like to highlight is the caregiver. People who connect to God by caring for others. Mother Teresa would be an example of someone who was a caregiver when she was here on earth. And so if you are connecting to God and you find yourself, I want to do more than just pray in my quiet room, I want to go out there and serve others in our society, I would believe and I would venture to say that you are a caregiver in terms of your temperament. And so that means create more avenues in your life to serve God by serving others. Because as you do that, your relationship with Jesus will be strengthened and you will continue to be someone who is growing in his image. And so the additional 3 of part 2 that we have looked at are, number 1, first and foremost, traditionalists, the 2nd one, activists, and the 3rd one being caregivers.